Hello, welcome to Dragon HQ and the Dragon Studio. I'm Caroline Mitchell, known as the original Dragon Lady. Welcome to this video about dragons. And ultimately, I'm going to try and cover some of the very basics. So for those that are new to working with dragons, I thought I'd cover what dragons are, some tips for working with them, and how to get the best out of your relationship with the dragons. That's my plan for doing this video, and how you can build upon if you've had a dragon appear or you'd like to know more about working with them. So buckle up, because it can be a bit of a bumpy ride with the dragons. They're great fun, and I dare say you will learn over the coming days, weeks and months that they can be rather direct. I had one student say to me that they like working with a very firm but fair parent. So you get the odd finger wag and the occasional dragon slap, but overall they're honourable and wise beings. So that said, what are dragons? So apart from being enormous energy, which they're a huge energy. They're big in stature. You know, if you're clairvoyant and you're able to see dragon, the majority of people that have dragon see them as these enormous beings. They vary, but they can vary in size. Some people have the size of a fairly large dog. Some people have young dragons. Some people are given dragon eggs. And then there are those like me who've only had these incredibly really old wise beings. So why the difference? I don't know the full answer to that, and the dragons haven't divulged it to me. I do wonder if maybe you find yourself with a young dragon, if they may be mirroring you in some way. So this is something to think about. It's not a set in stone. I'd like to know what your thoughts are, when you've seen the video, and if you have any experiences of this. If you have a young dragon turn up, I often see them, or people have told me, that they're like a wayward, large, unruly dog. And they need quite a lot of training. I do wonder if that's a mirror of what's going on maybe internally. So, you know how things reflect us, are reflected back at us. I wonder if the dragons, that if you've got a young dragon with you and it's being a bit of a pain, whether it's reflecting some chaos that's in your life. And it's showing you that there's work to be done to maybe put some boundaries in place, or you maybe need to take stock of where you are in your life. And it is about putting boundaries in, but also maybe taking things out or releasing stuff that doesn't work for you, because the dragons work on symbology. So maybe a young dragon coming in is showing you that life's sort of a little bit out of control, and you need to have a bit of a pause moment and think and reassess, if you like. And as you grow, your dragon will grow with you. This is sort of the feedback that I've been getting. Some people feel they're being given a dragon to teach them how to work with humans, because there are young dragons and they don't all know how to work with us, and they have to be taught. So some people feel they've got a dragon to help teach the dragons. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I haven't experienced it, but I'm just sort of sharing this with you. Now, the other thing you may have, and has come up a few times I've been working with students, is they're given a dragon egg. And again, that makes me think about what's going on with you internally. This is all emotional, by the way. Emotional and possibly physical. And then the physical reality, your outside reality in the 3D world. So if you've been given a dragon egg, of course, you have to nurture it and look after it. So again, is the dragon egg acting as a mirror? So is there a little bit of self-care required? And a friend of mine, I saw this recently on social media, and a friend of mine works specifically with women and about self-care and boundaries and this kind of thing. And she was talking about self-care, and she's saying self-care isn't about chocolate and a nice glass of gin or wine, whatever your preference, and a soak in the bath. Self-care is about nurturing of the self. So this is, you know, eating the right diet for you, the right foods for you, nourishing yourself with things that are good for your soul. Exercise that you enjoy. You haven't got to run the London Marathon, but you know, about looking after your body, looking after your emotional self, your mental self, your physical self. All of this is self-care. Chocolate and a gin and a hot bath is a bath isn't a treat, but you know what I mean. But these know that the chocolate and the gin is a treat. It isn't self-care. It's nice to have. So the dragon egg is that reflecting that you maybe need to look at your self-care. So where aren't you looking after yourself is the question that comes up if you have a dragon egg. If you look at, you'd nurture an egg like you would nurture a child or a kitten or a puppy, and you too need nurturing. So I'm just going to put those two out there for now, and I'll let you, sit with those if you have had a young dragon or a dragon egg come to you. Sorry, I'm all itchy. I've been in the garden and I'm all itchy. Now, the other thing that we have with dragons is there's a couple of things that happen. Frequently, a dragon will suddenly appear to you, or in my case, I had 48 all at once, which is slightly mind-blowing. So dragons start appearing to you in meditation, or if you see them clairvoyant, or you hear them if you're clairaudient. So these dragons start appearing, and you're wondering, what the dickens do I do with the ruddy great dragon? Well, I'm here to tell you this is what this video is about. But there are also those of you that have found your way to the Dragon Path Oracle card, which is my deck, are just drawn to dragons because you've loved dragons all your life. There's a whole host of reasons why you're at this video. So I'll start with those that have had dragons appear to them. Now, what frequently happens if you get to see your dragon? What happens quite frequently is that they'll show themselves, and this isn't right or wrong, this is how I've always seen them too, as being dual coloured. So they'll have a colour running down sort of from the tip of their nose down their back to the tail, and under their tummy and throat and whatever is a different colour. So there'll be two different colours. And these dragons are generally sort of guides, teachers, healers. They're the sort of the three guides that we have. The colours, people say are the colours specific. Dragons don't go into clans by colour, not in my experience. Dragons, because a group of dragons is called a clan. What they do is they go into their clans, which are specific groups, which we'll go into probably on a later video. So the colours don't necessarily mean they belong to a certain group of dragons, except one, which I'll come on to in a moment. So the colours, look at the colours, because they'll probably mean something to you. Or ask your dragon why they're that colour. Because colour is important to dragons, because colours are about vibrance, about frequency. And they'll be quite often vibrant colours. The other group that we have, apart from our teacher, so we've got a teacher, our guide, and if you're a healer, you've got a healing dragon. The other one is the guardian. Now, the guardian dragon will have been with you forever. So the guardian dragon shows up at your very, very first incarnation, wherever that will have been within the universe, galaxy or dimension. And they know everything there is to know about you. So they know your karma, they know your strengths, they know your soul contracts, completed or otherwise. They know all there is to know about you as a soul being, not in this human meat suit, but on a soul level. And they are here to guide you. And somebody once said to me, does everybody have a guardian dragon? The answer is absolutely yes. Whether you walk the spiritual path or don't, everyone has a guardian dragon that is allocated to them, for want of a better word, from their very first incarnation. And the other question that I get asked regularly is, how many dragons are there? And that got me scratching my head. It's like, well, yeah, how many are there? And so I asked them. And Gerald, with 2 R's, who's my teacher, he said, dragons are as infinite as the stars in the sky. So however many stars there are, that's throughout the universes and the galaxies, that's how many dragons there are. So coming back to the teacher's guides and healing dragons. Now, if you think about, if you have spirit guides, dragons work in a very similar way. So we'll start with our dragon teacher. So the dragon teacher, his ultimate role, or her ultimate role, because I do feel dragons can be one gender or the other. And don't be surprised if they swap, because this is our humanness. And I often feel that, you know, certainly with the cards within my deck, that I feel that one dragon, they came through as a very masculine energy, particularly. Yeah, I can be reading the card, but it feels feminine that day. So they can swap gender. That's how it's a bit bizarre, but that's what they seem to do. So don't get hung up. It's got to be male or female. They can be, they can be sort of this sort of almost like a transgender swapping as suits their purpose, I guess. So your dragon teacher can be either male or female and able to swap. They are often based around your spiritual learning. Okay. Now, the other thing you have is you've got your dragon spiritual teacher and you've got your dragon spiritual guide. So you've got no guide and teacher. Now, they can be separate or they can be one of the same thing. It doesn't actually matter. So your dragon teacher is here to support you along your journey, your physical journey and your spiritual journey. Because the dragons are big on personal development. They're big on us learning to accept ourselves as we are, to love ourselves as we are, but also for us to grow. That's to grow on a personal level and a spiritual level. So it's to have a deeper spiritual understanding, but also to push through judgments and boundaries and all of those kind of things. So that's your spirit or your dragon teacher. Now, if you have a separate dragon guide, they're very much about your spiritual path. This is, again, my experience. They're very much about your spiritual path and opening that up. And if you have got a dragon guide, you'll probably find you're drawn to something quite specific. So this could be sacred geometry, it could be color, it could be sound, any kind of creativity, really. But the dragon's thing is frequency, which is because it's into color, sound, and sacred geometry. And what they've told me, and I'm just going with what the dragons have told me, is that sacred geometry is the foundation or the fabric of what makes up our universe, which I think is quite cool. So you've got your guide and you've got your teacher. So your spirit guide is very much about your spiritual path, your spiritual growth, and developing on a spiritual level. Your teacher, dragon teacher, can be physical and spiritual. So that's the difference with them. So you can see why sometimes they cross and you just get one. Now, for those that work from a healing point of view, you may well have at least one healing dragon. You may have more than one. Now, interestingly enough, those that do Reiki will quite likely have a red dragon with them. And this it only seems to happen with Reiki. And this happened with me when I did my Reiki 1, and it was my first introduction to dragons back in 2005, or my full-on introduction to dragons in 2005. And this dragon appeared, this red dragon appeared at the beginning of the day, and he stayed all day. And he stayed around for ages. He stayed around for years, in fact. I had forgotten about him, but, that's another story. And it was years later that through a friend of mine, we finally worked out that this dragon's connected to Reiki, and he's actually Dr. Yusui. And Dr. Yusui is a shapeshifter, or for what a better word, for the dragon's name, Grand Master. And the Grand Masters can shapeshift. And they're generally ascended masters or highly evolved spiritual beings who can be dragon form or human form. And they're not assigned to any one of us. They work just with us as a group of human doings. So Reiki people may well find that they have a red dragon that they work with quite frequently, or appears when they're doing Reiki. That will be Dr. Yusui. And he could be dragon form, he could be human form. But if he shows up as a red dragon, you get a red dragon show up, that's Yusui. Now, my healing dragon's Nice Dragon. Now, I don't work with the elementals particularly, but I've got a very white ice dragon that shows up. I do very little healing work these days, but if I do any healing work and the dragons come in, I have this ice dragon that shows up. So the dragons can be elemental. And there's two things that happen with the healing dragons when you're working. You'll either get very strict and very direct directions on where to go and what to do, and you're placing your hands and things like that. Or you may feel the dragon energy coming through you. It varies from person to person. It can be completely unique to each of you. So that's the dragons. So you've got your teacher, you've got your guide, and you've got your healing dragon. And then you've got your soul guardian, or your guardian dragon, which we've already touched on. So then we've got the Grand Masters. So any of the ascended masters can be dragons, but not all of them are. So you've got Saint Germain can show as dragon. These are ones I've experienced. So you've got Saint Germain, you have Galileo, you have Merlin, there's Mother Mary. Who else is there? Yusui, obviously. Metatron can do dragon. My feeling is because Mary Magdalene's got a set of dragons that she works with, and it's very likely that Magdalene can shapeshift, although I've not seen it, but I wouldn't be at all surprised. And somebody said the other day about Jesus. Why not? What an incredible healer. What an incredible healing energy to work with would be the Christed energy. Possible. I haven't done it, but it doesn't mean it couldn't happen. So any of the ascended masters, or Kuan Yin, obviously, but any of the ascended masters can choose to be dragon or otherwise. So a dragon's turned up. You don't know what to do with it. It sort of just keeps appearing in your meditations. What do you do with the thing? It's like, This is all this energy. The first thing you've got to do is ground. And I've gone through a number of meditations over the years, a number of techniques over the years to work out the best way to ground, because when you start fully anchoring dragon energy or connecting fully to dragon energy, it can knock you sideways. And it can make you feel a bit woozy. And some people have reported feeling a bit sick. I certainly spent a long time feeling sick when I first started working with the dragons. That's changed quite considerably over the years. It has lessened, and that's to do with the frequency the dragons work at. So when I first started working with them, we didn't know about fifth dimension or above at that point, really. And they were certainly higher than the fifth dimension. And so a lot of the dragons have worked out that it's sensible to work in the fourth and fifth dimension because we can hold the energy better. And we can easily access that fourth dimension. It's the astral level, isn't it? And we're used and comfortable to working in that. And more of us are getting comfortable to working within the fifth dimension. So a lot of the dragons have done like a frequency change, if you like. And so they can connect with energetically better with us through fourth and fifth dimension, which does lessen that sort of thing, feeling a bit and a bit sideways feeling. But it's still good practice to ground. So the meditation coming up is what the dragons call the heart-centered meditation, because to work with dragon, you need to be completely heart-centered. You can't think dragon. You can't do dragon from your mind. You have to do it from a heart-centered, heart connection, because they're heart-based beings. For all their size and energy and all the stories we've heard about dragon, and especially in the West, we need to be heart-based because they are heart-based. We meet at a heart level. And you can't do it any other way. You can't think dragon. You have to feel dragon. I need to make that as a mantra, really. So the first meditation coming up is to get into that heart space to connect to dragon. And then from there, we'll go on and we'll do a second meditation. And you'll connect to your one or more of your dragon guides. So if you want to just pause, maybe you want to pause the video because you maybe want to go and get a pen and paper, put the cat outside so it doesn't jump on you when you're meditating and make you jump, turn your phones off. You want to be comfortable and quiet for probably about 20 minutes. You may like to light a candle. So if you want to pause the video here, then please do. And just go and get everything you need to be quiet and undisturbed for about the next 15 minutes or so. Just get yourselves comfortable. Now, if you're sitting either on the floor cross-legged, that's fine. But if you're sat in a chair, then just pop your hands on your laps or one palm on top of the other, feet flat on the floor. Don't cross ankles or knees or anything if you're sat in a chair, because you block you block off your grounding energy. So just get yourselves comfortable. And just gently close your eyes. And just take 3 or 4 really deep breaths in. Now, when you breathe in, because the dragons, this is about breathing properly, because many of us don't. And so when you breathe in, maybe you want to place a hand on your tummy. And as you breathe in, feel your tummy rise. So it's like you're trying to blow a balloon up in your belly. So you're taking the energy or the air right down into your lungs, into your diaphragm. If you're a singer or do yoga, you'll understand this. So take a really deep breath in and let it go. And as you release, the tummy drops back down. And another breath in, blowing the tummy out, and release. Now the next deep breath in, breathe in, and as you release, you're going to just let go of any tension and stress and go, just feel your shoulders drop. I've got the sun coming through the window now. I've sort of half disappeared. It's been cloudy all day. Anyway, I digress. So, and just one more deep breath in and and release tension, stress, whatever, niggles, let it go. And just place your hands comfortably on your lap. And we're gonna begin by focusing on the tip of the nose, really, because we're going to be working with the breath here. So this is a mindful breathing technique. So it's designed to quieten the body and mind. So we're going to focus on the tip of the nose, or one nostril or another, or both, whatever works for you. And you're just going to focus on the breath. On the breath in and the breath out. The breath in, the breath out. Breath in, breath out. And just staying with that rhythm, just find your own natural rhythm of following the breath. Now you may like to follow the breath in as far as you can take, as far as you can, to the sort of the back of your throat or into your lungs, however far you can follow that breath in. Or you may like to stay on the focus of the tip of your nose. Doesn't matter, whatever works for you, but it's keeping that focus on the in and the out. The in and the out. Staying with the breath, with that flow, just allowing it to find its rhythm. Any external distractions or noises, acknowledge them. You've heard them. Have that moment of curiosity and then let it go. That moment of acknowledging and bring the focus back once more to the breath. That rhythm and flow of in and out, in and out. If you find your mind wandering, getting caught up in its thoughts, or you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, acknowledge, know that you've been distracted, and just quietly again and gently, be gentle with yourself. bring your focus back once more to the breath. That flow and rhythm. Then I'd like you to take your attention inwards, so inside into your chest, to your internal body. Just take that focus inwards. Staying with the breath, but your attention and consciousness is now inwards. Excuse me, is now inwards. Staying with the breath. Staying with the rhythm and the flow. In, out, in and out. Well done. Just keep it going. And that attention that stays inward with the breath. And very quietly, take your attention and your focus to your consciousness. And allow your consciousness to gently drop, to begin to float down towards your heart chakra. And with each breath, your consciousness floats down and down, going deeper and deeper and deeper. Floating down towards your heart chakra. And very softly and very gently, your consciousness connects to your heart energy. And just enjoy that feeling of quiet stillness, of calmness radiating from you and around you. Feel the energy of it. You can stay here as long as you'd like to. You may like to pause the video and just stay in this space and come back to it a little later. And when you're ready, You'd like to begin to bring your attention back. Bringing it back first to your fingers and toes. Bringing your awareness and your consciousness back to the space around you. Being aware of any outside external sounds. You may like to have a wiggle of fingers, a wiggle of toes, a stretch. And open your eyes when you're ready. So once you're back in your space, you may like to have a drink of water is a very good idea. I would also write up any notes, anything you experienced, felt, saw, because it's about setting this to memory so it becomes like a muscle memory. So each meditation will always be different. You'll never get to the same, and every day will be different. You know, some days will be better than others. Some days you'll have the monkey mind and it won't stop. That's fine. It's the way it is. It's just, that is about being human. It doesn't matter how many years you've been meditating for, you do get those days where the old mind chatter doesn't give over. So don't give yourself a hard time. So, but if you know you've had a good experience and you want to remember it, and also anything that you can remember, any sensations, any feelings, any whatever took place, how maybe you felt very calm or very grounded, anything that you experienced, write down as much detail as you can, because this will help you commit it to your muscle memory and help set up your meditation techniques. So feel free to pause here and then come back to it when you're ready. Now, the next meditation, because we're going to go on and do another one. So the next meditation that we're going to do is to meet your principal dragon. Now, you may get one, you may get the whole shooting match, you may get, you know, all of them, guide, guardian, teacher, healing dragon, if you've got one of those as well. You may get the whole shooting match. So I'm going to take you on a journey or a visualization to meet your dragon or dragons. Now, they will become your best teachers. And many years ago, my mentor I met when I was 17. When I really started my spiritual journey, he said to me many, many years ago, your spirit guides will be the best teachers you will ever have. So I was saying to him, I couldn't find a teacher. I wanted to learn to do this stuff, and I couldn't find a teacher. I couldn't find this. I couldn't find that. And he said to me, don't worry about it. Learn to meditate and meditate well, because your spirit guides, or in our case, our dragon guides, will be the best teachers you will ever have. So, and this actually backs up his theory or his words, because nobody's taught me dragon. They've taught me dragon. There's nobody else doing this work when I started that I could find. So the dragons have been my teachers, as they can become your teachers. And they don't do complicated. They always do simple, easy, simple, uncomplicated. So we're going to go off and meet your dragon or dragons. And your lesson in this is for you to discern, to find out, and to ask what role your dragon plays. in your life? So is it a teacher, guide, or whatever? And you may have a feeling of that. You may know that. You may hear it. And interestingly, a lot of people say, before we get into this, a lot of people say that they can't hear their dragon. And that really isn't unusual, unless you're very, very clairaudient, because dragons as a rule don't have language as we know it. So they'll often impart things through imagery, through showing you, or through that claircognient, that clair knowing, that feeling, that sensing of something. So you've got the clairaudient, clairvoyance, claircognance, and clairsentience. Or if you're you do smell, olfactory, I can never say that word. Olfactory, whatever it is, what's it? Clair smelling. There we go, easy. They'll do things through smells. So whatever your sentient, your clairsentient, and your clair is, whatever your sensitivity or sensitive clair is what the dragons will work with. Now, if you do get a sense of talking to your dragon of words, they're often very short sentences, very clipped and very direct, very straightforward. So dragons don't do fluffy nonsense. They use very few words, just because language isn't their chosen form of communication. They've had to learn to communicate with me. So, and many others, I guess, over the years that work with dragon. So if you don't hear your dragon, don't be discouraged. Many people also say that they see a dragon eye, or their dragons are so big they can't see them. They get like a sense of scales, or a leg, or a wing, or something like that. Again, they don't see the whole dragon, and like sometimes that's just down to their sheer size, because they're close up. You need to be able to step away from them, or get them to step away from you, so you can see their size. I first saw dragon in silhouette form. I didn't see them as their actual colors or anything for a while. And I tend to be claircognient rather than anything else, or clair smelling I get as well. So you won't always get all the clairs. So again, work with what's right for you. And if you don't see them in their full glory, don't worry about it. Use your other clairs. Dragons don't, no spirit guide or comes in, I wish they did, neon signs, symbols, banging of drums, all that kind of thing. So it makes it easy for us. The energies are much more subtle. So it's having this heightened awareness of the subtleties is what's key, especially if you're very new to this. So back to your comfy position, wherever you're sitting, laying. If you're laying down, obviously there is a chance that you'll fall asleep, but hey ho, that's the way it is. So find your comfy position. Just close your eyes. Don't cross your legs or your knees or your ankles. Hands on your lap, resting softly, gently, quietly. Comfortably is the most important thing. Just a couple of breaths. And just connect back to your breath. Just connect back to that mindful breathing. That rhythm. Finding that breath. That flow. The in and out. Settling back down. Allowing body and mind to go, whew, quiet time. And taking your focus inwards to your heart chakra again. And allowing your consciousness to drop down once more to connect into your heart chakra. So just settling down, body and mind connected, or heart and mind connected. Now, just visualize yourself somewhere outside in nature, your favorite spot, maybe an ancient site, a sacred site. It could be absolutely anywhere. I'd like you to take off your shoes and feel the earth beneath your feet. Feel that connection to Mother Earth, to Gaia. Maybe feel the coarseness or the dampness of the grass. If you're on a beach, feel the sand between your toes. Whatever terrain you're in, feel the warmth or the cool, the softness or hardness of what's under your feet. And it's very early evening. The sky is gradually beginning to darken. The sun is setting. And the first stars are beginning to blink into light, into life in the night sky. And as you're watching the sky and the stars, the moon is just beginning to poke her head above the horizon. Beautiful full moon. As you're watching the sky and the moon rise, you become aware of a light whizzing across the sky. It's coming towards you. And you stand and you watch. And this light gets brighter and bigger and brighter and bigger and brighter and bigger. And the closer it gets, you begin to see its form. And you realize it's your dragon. And they land incredibly softly, surprisingly softly, for their great size, directly in front of you. You spend a moment or two surveying each other, You take in their colouring. Do you sense they're male or female? Are they one or more than one colour? What are their colours? Really spend some time and go with your knowing of what this is. What colour are their eyes? What shape are their scales? Absorb every detail. The dragon takes a step forward and they drop their head to yours, forehead to forehead, third eye to third eye. This is the dragon's formal greeting. It's like connecting back with an old friend. As the energy pulses between you, is that knowing, you know this soul, you know this dragon. So much information passes between you. They carry great wisdom, compassion. They carry a huge caring for mankind and our planet, and for you as an individual, for they're part of your clan. The dragon lifts their head and looks at you inquiringly, asking, are you ready? Are you ready to fly with them? For they have something to show you, to share with you. You can ask all your questions on the way. And your job is to discover by their teacher, a guide, a healer, or your guardian. So the dragon invites you to climb aboard. And you find yourself sitting atop this enormous winged beast. Magnificent, powerful, beautiful creature. And it feels surprisingly secure as you're sat in front of his wings. It's almost like a seat is made for you. They ask if you're ready. And when you are, with a great push of their rear legs and a flap of their giant wings, you find yourself airborne. and they will answer your questions and take you places or Pacific Place. For they are your guides and teachers, and they will have much to share with you over the coming days, weeks, and months. I'll leave you with your dragon guide, your dragon teacher, whoever you're with, and I'll call you when it's time to come back. Now, when you're ready, begin to make your way back with your dragon to where you started from. And very, very gently, your dragon softly lands. And you slide off their back, connecting back to Mother Earth. And thank them for their time, their wisdom, their teachings, knowing that they're there for you. Through all walks of your life. And with one last look, the dragon takes themselves skyward. And you watch as they become just another star in the sky, a speck of light hanging in the heavens. You gather your shoes, thinking about all that you've just experienced. And your awareness of the physical begins to come back in. As you become aware of your feet on the floor, you become aware of the room around you. As you become aware of any sounds or smells. You can feel your weight supported by the chair beneath you. You'll feel your feet on the floor, your hands on your lap. You begin to wiggle fingers and wiggle toes. Going back into this physical reality, back into the present moment and the here and now. You may like to stretch. Take a deep breath and open your eyes when you're ready. And just take a moment to gather your wits, to sit in this space of quiet. Of everything you've just experienced, seen and felt and heard. And just stay in this space quietly for a few more moments. And then when you're ready, you're fully back with us. A drink of water would be a very good idea. It might even be an excuse for a chalky biscuit. And write up your notes. And as you write your notes up, this will become your journal of your dragons. And what you'll find, especially if you're new to this, writing up every detail that you can remember, deeper understandings will come in. Maybe you'd missed something in your meditation. As you write it down, that knowing will step forward, that clear knowing will step forward, that understanding will slot into place. And it'll become a clearer picture for you. And the key is to write as much information as you can of how you felt, what you saw, the colors, where you went, anything, the time of day, the time of year, anything that you can recall, write down. And because as you write, other clarity will come in. Deeper understandings will come forward. So I hope you have, excuse me, itching my eye. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'd love to know how you get on. I don't always get to reply to emails and everything else because it does get a bit busy here at Dragon HQ. But I'd love to know how you get on. And excuse my whinging dog, she wants her tea. She doesn't like being separated from mummy. She gets mummy loss. So I'll look forward to hearing how you get on with it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. With much love from me and Dragon HQ. I will see you soon.